Hello and welcome to today's video. So as you can see, I am in the Lando Plenty here, surrounded by a lot of horses, and that is indeed what this episode will be about. So I don't really go to the end, and if I do, it's very late game. So we will need a faster method of transportation since we won't be using Elytra. And it's a real shame that no one really uses the horse mechanic anymore. So what we'll do is we'll be building a stable today, and then we'll be doing some horse breeding as well. So here I am, I've mined out an area here, just did a little bit of mining off camera, not in the typical YouTube fashion of mining, 10,000 million blocks. I've just, mined out a relatively large area here, just towards the side of our fortress, and this will feed into the entrance. That way we should be just able to run in here on our horse from the entrance and dock it up in the stable. So what I'm going to do here now is just finish off mining out this last part, and then we will get to work on actually building the stables themselves. So here I'm just trying to decide on an actual design to use for each of the little stable areas here. So over there I did like a straw floor. Over here I tried a dirt path floor. Now I think I'm definitely leaning towards a dirt path. This straw, it's a little bit too bright, a little bit cartoony. It doesn't look so bad with a little bit of straw at the back, but like for the entire floor it just looks a little bit too bright. So I think this is what we'll be going with in the end. Now I'm just going to decide what kind of rails we should have here. So I think the first shot is we'll try chains and see what they look like. Not bad. And I think I wanted to try some iron bars as well, so we'll give these a go, see if they work any better than the chains. It's definitely a different kind of vibe, but I think overall the chains look a lot better. So here is the finished design, or it's at least one of the finished designs, and what we'll be doing now is just repeating this design in pretty much every cubicle along this wall. So as you can see, we've got the dirt floor, we've got some slight details here with wooden planks at the side, some fences on top. And I think overall it really fits the area, because this area I want these horses to be like working horses, like what you used to have like in the mines in like old school England, the ones that used to like carry materials, perhaps iron that's been mined. So I wanted to give it that kind of gas lamp kind of vibe, and I think that fits this perfectly. So here we are, we're going to actually try and tame some horses now, but first we'll need to get another donkey. Now the reason we're getting donkeys is because we will be eventually breeding the horses with the donkeys to create mules, and since mules can carry items when you attach a chest to them, they'll be pretty useful, because what I'm planning eventually is we're going to have like a separate farming area for all the agricultural stuff. It's going to be like a dilapidated farmhouse. It's going to be outside of our fortress, and I'll need a way to actually transport materials back and forth from that area to the fortress. And I want to use mules primarily, at least to start with. I think in the end maybe we'll automate it a little bit, but I really just like the idea of using mules and horses, just because they're such an underrated mechanic in Minecraft and no one really uses them anymore. Elytra kind of took over, and it's a real shame really. So we're just going to take this donkey back to our fortress now. I already got a donkey quite a while ago. It's been just sitting in the fortress for quite a while. And then what we'll do is we'll breed these together. Now donkeys always spawn with fixed stats, so it's actually pretty easier to get a decent donkey, or at least like breed donkeys that have increasing better stats than it is with horses, because horses stats I believe are random. And then once we've got a horse and a donkey with high enough stats, we'll breed those together to create a perfect mule. Well, not perfect, but a decently fast mule. So we've brought our donkey back here, and you can see I've finished off the general area of this place. I've got the walls done, I've got all the cubicles done, the path done. I've also built a horse speed tester over here. So what we'll do here is just run over these stone pressure plates, and then the redstone lamps at the side should light up just like that. And then this should give us a general idea. It's not really accurate, it's not completely accurate, but it'll give us a general enough idea of how fast our donkey or horse is. And this section here that I built, this is a jump height tester, and this will give us a general idea of how high our horses or donkeys can jump. And of course we want max stats in all those. I mean, we don't need to build anything for the health, because we can see it there, the donkey's health bar right there at the bottom next to ours. So now what we're going to do is just going to train this farmer villager up to master. That's because we'll be needing some golden carrots, and that's probably the easiest food to feed horses or donkeys in order to get them to breed. You can feed them like golden apples and stuff, but they're a lot more valuable for villager conversion, so I think we'll be mainly using the golden carrots. There we go, we have our golden carrots now. So now what we'll be doing is we'll be riding these donkeys over to the breeding pens, which are over here right next to the horse speed tester. You see we've got those little like bales of hay in nets above there. Just a nice little detail. And once we have both the donkeys in the pen, all we need to do is just feed them a golden carrot each. And this should get them to breed, which they are doing now. And then they will pop out a tiny little baby donkey. Kind of adorable. And I'm just going to return these donkeys to the pens because there is a high chance the donkey that they just bred is going to have better stats than at least one of them. Now I actually neglected to mention how horse breeding works. How it works essentially is just when a horse is bred, the child horse, the foal I suppose, it will take an average of its parent stats, so an average of its speed, health and jump height, and then it will just add like a random horse stat, and it will add those two together, and then the final stats will be a result of those two. So for example, we have like 2 horses that have 10 speed, breed them, it'll take an average of 10 speed, that'll be 10 speed, then it'll be a plus random amount of speed, like, you know, say like plus 12 speed, and then it'll take the average of those 2 values, and that'll give the bred horse 11 speed. Just gonna lasso this little guy over here just to keep him in the pen. And then we'll check back in 20 minutes, he should be fully grown, and we'll put him through the tests. So here I'm going on the second quest, and this is to get a few horses. Now, remember something I didn't mention as well, is when you're trying to tame a horse, you always have to have nothing in your hand. And then you just right click on the horse, and eventually it will submit, and you should be able to smack a saddle on it. Here we go, so this one is submitted now. I'm going to sit a saddle on, and we're just going to kind of have a feel for its speed. So we can see with this one the speed is terrible, like I could probably run faster than this. And we're just going to do that with all the horses around this plains area, just get a general feel for the speed, and then we'll take a few back which are the fastest. So here we are, took me around an hour. I've tested pretty much every horse in this field. These are the 4 horses that had the highest speed, or at least felt like they had the highest speed. I guess we'll find out once we get back to the speed tester. So I'm just going to lasso a bunch of these now, and then I'm going to ride one, and then I'm going to go all the way back to base and start breeding. Look kind of great at this, look like some kind of horse lord. This is a lot more finicky than I thought it would be. Like, you can't run too fast because then the leads will break and they'll go running off, and you have to chase them down and lasso them again. So you just got to carefully sort of edge towards the fortress, one step at a time. So this is a little bit off topic, but does anyone remember the horse meat scandal in the UK like 10 years ago? I think it was back in 2014, where they did a bunch of tests of like places like Tesco, other retailers, and they found the frozen lasagnas, or was it the cheeseburgers, hamburgers? I'm not sure, but it was something, and it contained like 39% horse meat, something crazy like that. And I think it was advertised as spicy beef. So yeah, I guess horses taste spicy. You see, this is why you should not make stables in Minecraft when you're hungry. Your mind just goes to terrible places. And we'll give him a quick go on the jump tester now. Seems like this guy can't really clear 3 blocks. So he's got a pretty terrible jump speed for a horse. And on the signs here, this is where we'll actually write the speed and jump height of the horse, and we'll also, if it's a good horse, we'll also give it these stats on the name tag as well, just so we don't lose track of which horse is which. You see this horse right here, it has a very similar speed, but it also has a much higher jump height. It's got really low health though, which is a shame. And then we'll just pop its stats on the sign as well. So here, as I said earlier, we're just going to write the stats of each horse, or at least the good ones. So we can see here S for speed, J for jump height, and this is a speed 12, jump height 3.5 horse. And we'll name it, and then we'll just continue our horse breeding efforts. Now, with horse breeding, you've got to have quite a lot of patience. Because of how it works, because you have that random horse start as well, it means that, you know, a lot of the times you will end up breeding horses that are, you know, worse than the horses that you actually have, that you actually use to breed the horse. So it is a lot of trial and error, and it can take quite a long time to get a, you know, a decent horse. It can take even longer to get a perfect horse. I've heard that's incredibly rare. But realistically, we only really need a mule with, like, say, a speed of 10. I think that's, you know, fast enough to where it'll be quite convenient for us. And what have I just witnessed here? It seems like 3 villagers breeding with each other. Absolutely sickening. Yeah, hang your head in shame. And I've stuck some leather armor dye black on this horse just because it is one of the best horses we have at the moment. As you can see, we've changed the pens, so now there's a donkey and a horse in each pen as opposed to 2 donkeys and 2 horses. And this is because breeding these now with this golden carrot should result in a mule. And there it is. So now what we'll do is we'll lasso this little guy. You can actually feed horses or donkeys to speed up the growth. Like, there's, you know, there's a variety of foods you can give them. Like, for example, wheat. You can give them golden apples, and that'll speed things up a little bit. Because sometimes it is kind of inconvenient to wait 20 minutes for these to grow up. So hopefully this mule has decent stats when he grows up. Otherwise, he will have earned himself a one-way trip to Tesco. And here we are. As you can see, our mule's all grown up. We tested it. It has a speed of 10.5, jump height of 2. Jump height's not great, but, you know, the speed's the most important thing. We've already name tagged this guy. Next, what's left to do is just to pop a chest on him like so. And now, as you'll see, once we actually get on him, we open the inventory. You'll see he actually has his own inventory, so we can just place things in here. And this will be a massive help once moving, like, all the stuff from the agricultural area you're going to build. So we'll have, like, you know, heaps of wheat and carrots and stuff. So now we can ride these, maybe, like, you know, lasso a few of them on leashes, and it should make transporting items back and forth a lot easier. So we'll pop a chest on this guy as well. And yeah, that pretty much wraps up the video today. Thank you very much for watching. Please let me know down below in the comments if you were one of the victims that fell to the horse meat scandal way back like 10 years ago or something. Yeah, let me know if you've ever eaten horse. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.